Good morning, everybody. It's Vicki with the Fairy Stamper Hugs video design team. And this morning I have a bittersweet message for you and a project. Today is going to be my last video that I'm going to make with the team on a regular basis. But I look forward to being invited to maybe be a guest designer and continuing to share my work on our Facebook page with all of you. But I wanted to give a special shout out to each of my team members, especially Anne, who keeps us so organized and on track and provides us with the best constructive criticism to just do better projects, how to record and that kind of thing. And she's fabulous. And each of my team members who have inspired me and encouraged me to come out of my box as a designer and try different techniques, each of you are fabulous and so creative. And I appreciate you. I'm gonna miss you guys, the interaction that we have as a team, but I know all of you are gonna make great things with the Fairy Stamper stamps, and I look forward to seeing those. And then for all of you in the group and our subscribers, thank you for following and watching, and you too for your encouragement, your comments, your questions, your ideas. You inspire me and you inspire all of us. And I just wanted to thank you. I mean, there's just not a different word that I can use. And for those of you that I've gotten to know personally, I love you. And I know that so many of us are going to be lifelong friends. And I'm looking forward to getting to see some of you in person during your travels and that type of thing. And the projects that I've been able to exchange with you all the way to Australia and Germany and the Netherlands, you guys are great. I love it. I saved every single one of them. I have a nice little turntable. I use them as inspiration and just reminders that, you know, with all the struggles that we have in the world, there are so many wonderful things. And I saw a quote the other day that said, fall in love with as many things as possible. And being able to use my imagination in my art allows me to just fall in love with so many different things. And I wanted to share that with you guys. And before we got started on our project, I just wanted to let you know how appreciative all of us on the team are to be able to work for you and inspire you because you do that for us. So I'm going to get started on my last project, and I look forward to seeing each of you share your work on the Facebook page. So be sure to find us. I'll have that link at the bottom of the video in case you are new with us, and be sure to subscribe and continue to watch all the fabulous work that my team members are gonna be able to continue to share with you. So last time, thank you all for everything that you have brought into my life. I appreciate each and every one of you. Okay, so we are ready to get started on my last project with you guys, but certainly not my last project with the Fairy Hug stamps. Anyway, I am going to use Oscar, and he is fabulous. And he's got lots of arms, and well, he's an octopus, so he's got the 8 arms, I think that is. But you can see all these fabulous little suckers that you could color in, lots of detail in his face and his eyes there. And originally I was gonna make a background, but I was struggling to be happy with one that I had made that I would share with you. So what I did was I pulled out a piece of one of the alcohol ink backgrounds that I showed you all how to make a couple of weeks ago. So you can take a look at that. And I think the bubbles are very ocean-esque for this card. So I decided to go with that one. And we're gonna be super simple today because I'm only gonna highlight Oscar. I'm not gonna finish the whole card. I haven't decided if I might mat it and put it in a frame, or if I will put a little sticker on there or something that, you know, says, give me a hug, or I don't know, something like that. But I do wanna highlight Oscar. So I have already put him in my platform, and like always, I will encourage you all to do that. And I've always tried to give you all a small tip with each video. So you probably can't see it in the camera, and it's really not as important. But I wanted to remind you that when you're using your paper trimmer, whichever type of trimmer you use, I use the slide blade, and I didn't realize that I didn't have any more blades, and so mine is a little bit ragged on the edge. So my tip for you this week is just take a soft nail file. Fine is, you know, a fine grade, because you don't want anything too harsh. And I'm just gonna file those edges down when I decide what I'm gonna make. So let's get started. And let's see, so I've got Oscar all laid out. I'm gonna use the VersaFine Clair Nocturne to stamp him on. And I want all the bubbles at the top. And so I'm gonna put this in here. I use the magnets to hold it down. And I'm gonna give him a couple of good stamps. My ink pad is recently re-inked, so I don't have to worry about that. We're gonna actually get a really good impression the first time. That's one of the things that's really nice about the Fairy Hug stamps, is the detail in them. But I will stamp it twice because I want that nice crisp stamp there. I'm gonna move my light around a little bit, and hopefully that's gonna help you see it. So I'm just giving it a good press. I want that ink to kind of soak into the paper a little bit. And carefully pull it up. And you can see that he really doesn't need a second press. It's just a wonderful impression already. But I really want that to pop off the card. So I'm going to re-ink him. You can hear me tapping, but I'm doing that off camera. And again, this is the Nocturne. You could almost stamp him in maybe a sea green color, even gray, whatever color you wanted, maybe one to match your background. Just want to make sure he doesn't get lost in there because he's got such fabulous detail. Okay. So we've got him on here. Fabulous. I didn't double stamp because I was using the platform. So look at him on this background. He is just fabulous. I love him. And he's such a great size. Okay, so I'm gonna move my platform off to the side, get that out of our way. And this card requires very little work, but one of the things that I'm always amazed with is the different ways people use the Brusho inks, how they can watercolor. None of those are in my wheelhouse. I actually have almost all of the Brusho colors, or at least the originals, and I can't get any of those fabulous colors and backgrounds like everybody else gets. But I'm comfortable with the backgrounds that I make, and I found these were actually on clearance. They're watercolor pencils. I think I got, how many are in this package? There's 24 in this package, and they were only a couple of bucks on clearance because I wanted to try them. Again, because I was trying a new technique, trying to come out of my wheelhouse. That's important, to give it a try. And like I said in my earlier farewell speech there, I'm inspired by my team members to try something different. So I have pulled out 3 pencils that I thought worked really well with the background. And then I've got a green one that's just going to give us some highlights. And the nice thing about using the watercolor pencils is that I don't have to color very pretty. I can just go in because I'm just going to blend this color. Now, my main color, I'm going to use this kind of magenta color and the purple color. So I'm just going to move the other 2 out of the way. And all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my pencil and I'm gonna lay it down in different places. And I wanna lay all of my color down first because I don't want to saturate my paper because I'm not using watercolor paper. So I want to be sure that, you know, my ink is going to stay where it's supposed to, and it's not going to warp and that type of thing. So you can see on some of the higher sides or the outer sides, I'm using the lighter magenta color. So I'm just going to come around, and I'm not going to do the whole thing. I just want Oscar to really come off of the page. And this is a little bit lighter here, so I'll do that. And you can see I'm just kind of scribbling around, almost outlining, then would color in, but we're not going to do that. And I don't want to do the whole card because I don't want to lose my background either. So just in a few places on the outside. Obviously, if he were underwater, it would be a little darker. So I'm just filling in a few places because that's all I want to do. This is going to be a quick project for us today. Okay, hopefully you can't hear my dog snoring in the back, but she is really going at it. So now I'm going to use my purple, and I want to go into some of these darker places because even though the color is dark, these are actually some great colors. And I'm just going in the corners where it would be darker anyway, almost shadow-esque. And I just want to add a little. And once we add the water to it, it's going to soften up our edges. You're not going to see where we've kind of done that. So I'm just adding in. I'll hold this up in a minute closer to the camera so that you can see where I've added all of this color. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with that. So you can see I've got the darker purple, I've got our lighter colors right there. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go in with just a little bit of blue in a few places. This one is really close to the alcohol lift color, so we're not gonna see it quite as well. But I'm gonna put it close to the pink, and that's gonna give us a little bit of a lighter purple in just a few places. Which in my opinion kind of blends it all out. I'm going to do some of his suckers in the blue where there's not as much color from the lift. So down here, and I love that I don't have to be so careful with it. And if I chose to, I could actually erase this if I wasn't happy with the color. But it's going to blend enough, you're not going to see it, and I know you'll be happy with what you make. Okay, so really it's just a little bit of blue because in our background we've got so much blue. And now I wanted to add a color that wasn't in our palette originally, but because it blends with the other colors, we've got just a touch of green. So I just want to add this completely away from any of the other places where I've added blue or purple. And I'm going to be a little bit heavier handed because I want the recipient to see that. So I'm going to just fill in some of these really empty spaces through here. Whoops, there's already some blue in there. It just kind of, when I was playing around with the idea, just really kind of lit the card up a little bit. Okay, and now the fun part. So I think I'm going to add a little bit of green just down here to balance out our card. So let me hold this up one more time so you can see all of the colors that I've added. I've got the purple, the magenta, a little bit of blue beside my pink or magenta, and then I've got this green. And then I've got this kind of a squeeze water pen type thing. I'm not even sure what it's called or where I got it, to be honest with you. But I'm bound and determined to start using some of the things that I've bought because, you know, they just look good in the store. So that's my goal. And it's already wet. I'm going to squeeze it out. See if you can see it on the paper. But it would leave lots of water if I wasn't careful. So I've just got a piece of paper towel. You could use a Kleenex, whatever you wanted. And all I'm going to do is I'm just going to rub it on here. And as I move to a different color, I want to wipe it off because it will blend and pink and green don't make a very pretty color, but it does. Then I also want to dab off the page because I don't want that water to sit. It's going to make my card warp. So this is what we're doing. I'm going to go in here, I'm going to do the green, and you can see it's going to really light it up. And that's it. I'm going to do that all around the card, all of the colors that we did. I'm going to leave some of the edges a little harsher because I want that to stand out. I'm wiping off my pen off camera there, and then I'm coming in here. And I'm going to take the color as far as I can because it is watercolor. It will move around a little bit, but make sure you're wiping that off. And you can already see where he is highlighted here. And I have noticed, at least with the watercolors, because the paper is going to take a second to dry off, you can actually go back and add some more color if you chose to. Just let your paper dry because you're going to tear it. You know, it's paper, and paper and water are not conducive to each other. Keep it dry, wipe it off because I don't want that purple in my pink. That is the one color that I don't really want to blend until I get to where I've got a little blue just to create that. So hopefully you all are seeing all of this kind of change the look of our picture here, especially the green. I just really like what that did to the whole thing. And I will probably go back before. Now in this section here, I'm just gonna kind of flick this off, almost like if I were coloring with maybe a Copic marker or something. Just to spread that ink around a little bit. Let me wipe off my pen. And we're drying it. So let me hold this up. Can you see how he's starting to just really pop off the page? I'm so excited about this technique. And so I'm definitely going to use it with some of the other stamps that I have because, you know, I've spent the money on stuff and I don't try it because it's intimidating. And I just have to remember that it's just art and it's just paper. If I don't like it, I can start over. I can go back to it until it does make me happy, and I can continue to play with it. But I'm trying to keep my paper as dry as I can. I definitely love just how the green changed everything. I do. And that's it. I mean, it totally changed the way he looked on the paper from before, and it matches. Now, I'm not quite as happy with the blending over here, and I don't know that I can soften this up too much without really getting my paper too wet. So what I might do is after it dries, I could go back in. Let me see. I'm gonna try with you guys, but I want you to see. I'll go ahead and put a little purple in here. The paper is wet enough where it's actually forcing it to blend right away. And let's see if we rub it. So I don't want to tear or, you know, shred up my paper. Even here, just play with our colors. I'm super excited that I decided to try this with you guys, and it worked because I'm so excited about it. And there he is. So I will decide how I'm going to finish him off, and then I'll post a picture and you can see it. So I know this video is a little bit longer than I normally do, but I just love how he looks at the end. And I'll probably take a blending brush and probably add a little bit of blue. I think that's going to look really good, and either sequin or maybe a couple of gems on there. So take a look at the finished project, and like I said earlier below, thank you all for so much encouragement that you showed me over the last year. I appreciate all of you, and I look forward to seeing what everybody's got. Have a great day. Take care. Bye-bye.